Well, this is the River Thames at Culham, and I'm going to be crashing a few of these in and fishing the whip. Let's see what we catch. Once again, excuse me for my legs. I'm going to fish a 5 metre whip to hand. If I can untangle it. 1, 2, 3. Never the way you want it. That's it. Right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to flick this out where I want it, just past the end of the tip, let it come back towards me, and get a few of these ready then. Just crash in just 3 or 4, 4 or 5. Just create a nice area. My float, lovely that. I don't want to go too far past my float, on my float and short of it. There we are. One more. Ring the dinner bell. Right, perfect. So, this is the Thames at Culham. Deep peg this. I wanted to go the next peg up, but I plumbed up and there's a massive snag right in front. So I've changed my mind and I've come on to this peg. I've got 3 whips set up. 2 5 metre whips. One elasticated, one with a flick tip, and then I've got a bleak whip set up as well. But I actually haven't put a float on that yet. I'm going to try and catch on the bottom to begin with. Try and catch some nice roach. So I'm going to swap these tubs over. All I've got is maggots, pinkers and casters. Big old boat. That's how the other half live. Let's see if we can get a bite straight away. See if my legs have scared them off or not. I'm phone out the way. Beautiful bit of river this. Fishing a bit moody, a bit patchy at the moment. That might have a bleak on. Didn't settle. So I'm fully expecting a lot of bleak today, but hopefully there's some roach underneath them. I've got a biplane above. Yeah, I heard you. Strange. Thinks his horn's broken, he said. Right, now the clampets have gone. 4 lads on a boat who just want to beat. Let's try it. Hopefully it'll settle down. Welcome to the Thames. Some right plonkers on this river, and I've just seen 4 of them on that little boat. Let's see if we can catch some nice roach. That's the plan. There's some nice perch in here, and I've come just for a couple of hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours tops, just to try and get me whips right really, and just get me hooks and hook lengths and different things right. This is a deep peg. It's probably a good 8 foot, 9 foot. So there should be some fish close in, I'm hoping. Now that's a bite. Oh, there we are. Wow. What have we got there? It's a good start on a flick tip. I think it's a perch. Yep. There we are. Well, we're not blanked. We caught a nice chunky perch. So I don't mind catching those on the whip. Now it's generally a small fish tactic whip fishing, but it's also just a good fast method as well when there's a lot of fish in front of you. So let's pop a pinky on, and we'll swap between pinkies, maggots and casters as well. These are really nice big pinkies. So I got from Ace Tackle in Kidlington, and they're absolutely spot on. Now I'm not going to feed anything else just yet because I don't want to attract any bleak. I'm sure I'll catch them on the way down anyway. but if they are there, I'll swap to my little shorter whip and we'll clattle a bleak with a proper bleak rig. But at the moment I'm just fishing a 1.5 gram pencil float, and I've got a flick tip whip, a traditional whip with a fine carbon flick tip. And this is a 5 metre whip. Sadly discontinued these, it's a matrix whip. Now I've crashed quite a bit of bait in. It might take a few minutes for them to arrive, but when they do, hopefully we'll have a decent time. There's a lot of pike in this bit of river though, that's the only issue. I'm fully expecting a few of those today. Now, whilst we're waiting for a bite, we'll talk through the mix. Now that's Sonobait So Natural Black Roach, Black River, a bit of soil, and I've actually put some damp leam in it as well. That's just to create a bit more of a cloud. Don't always put damp leam in, but I'm expecting this river to fish hard at the moment. I'm just wondering if a bit of cloud will help just hold a few more fish there. That feels a bit more roachy. It is. No, oh it is. Well, if they're all that size, I might be swapping to the elasticated whip. There, that's on a single pinky. Cracking roach. I've got an 18 to 08 on this rig, and I've got a slightly thicker 18 to 010 on my elasticated whip. I'm going to swap between the two, see which is best. Pop a maggot back on, even though he just caught a roach on that. That's a great sign, a roach second drop. Not very fast, it didn't come very fast, but I'm just holding back from loose feeding at the moment. If I start loose feeding too early, I think you'll get bleak in your peg. So just try and catch what's there first, and we'll see. If they'll have a ball on their head, brilliant, but they don't always. So yeah, I'm fishing an 18 to 08 on the flick tip, and then I've got an elasticated whip with a slightly heavier gauge 18. It's another roach, and that's got 010 on it. I'm keen to swap between them both. Crack in. That was on a maggot, that come a bit faster. Now I'm fishing a 1.5 gram pencil float. Lovely slim float. There's hardly any flow on this river. It's just a slight trundle. So and so that pencil float being so slim, there's no resistance, and it just strikes straight through. Oh, that's a better one. I'll be netting that one. Wow. Awesome. Some lovely roach in this river. When you catch it right and you're here by yourself on the Thames, the fishing can be brilliant. If this was a match today, there'd be a bit more spread out obviously, and you wouldn't have them to yourself. But it's a great sign that we've caught so quickly. And what have we thrown in? 5 big balls, laced with maggots and laced with pinkies and casters. No hemp. I could have brought hemp, but that's just one more thing to bring. I've only brought my minimum amount of tackle. So 3 roach and a perch, brilliant. And I might, oh, that was a bite on the drop. Oh, that's weird. I've hooked, I can see what I've hooked, look. Unless that's my pink maggot from before. I bet that's my maggot from before. I didn't realise it'd blown up the line. I thought I'd hooked another maggot. Burst that one. But this is great. So if we can catch a few on this. It's just interesting because I like fishing elastic, you know. I'm a bit scared of fishing a whip these days because of the amount of bonus fish. But when there's a lot of fish there, you won't beat the speed of a whip. So let's see what we can catch. So it's nice to catch a few roach and a perch straight away. Fully expecting it to go under straight away. Another roach. You can just tell by the way it's jagging. Wow, I do double figures of these. No problem. Look at that. Awesome. Now this bit is a day ticket stretch, but you must get your day tickets in advance. And I've got mine from Ace Tackle in Kidlington on the way. So there's definitely some fish there. So let's try crashing a little ball in. Perfect. Hopefully they'll come to that. And if I can keep throwing a ball on their heads, that'd be brilliant. So yeah, this is a 1.5 gram float, 2 number 9 droppers. Sometimes I fish straight after popping a ball in. This is another big roach. Oh, brilliant. Not necessarily whip fish these, but they are if you put a decent hook and line on. Certainly can't be swinging them to hand when they're that size. Not with Thames tackle. If you pop a caster on, nice to pop a different bait on early and just see. Yeah, if I can pop a ball of ground bait on their heads each chuck, that'd be brilliant. You do £20 when it's like this. Right, I'm going to lift the rig up now. I'm going to lower it down and kind of bomb it down a bit faster. Luckily we haven't had any bleak trouble yet, which is surprising. Now the rig is just slightly shorter than the length of my whip. I missed that one. It's nicked my caster. Nicked my caster. Yeah, the rig is just slightly shorter than the length of the whip, but not a lot short. A lot of people go really short, so that obviously when you swing a fish to hand, it'll come straight to hand. But I'm not really expecting. I prefer a little bit longer, and it just makes it easy for baiting up and everything. And I don't mind reaching up with a bigger fish on. And I'm fully expecting them all to be nice quality fish today, as they have been already. Couldn't have asked for a better start, could we? Ooh, wow. That's a good roach. Now, the only issue we're going to have today, I'm pretty sure we'll have a pike at some point. But it shows what you can catch with just a traditional flick tip, doesn't it? That was on a caster. Absolutely awesome fishing. I love the Thames. My only thing I don't like about the Thames is when the bleak arrive. If you can get through the bleak, try a pinky that time. If you can avoid the bleak, the roach underneath them are fantastic. So let's go and have a little ball. One-handed squeeze. Nice and hard, like that. Oh, the float's not settled. That's why. What did I say? Right on cue. That's our first bleak. Which is one reason why I haven't loose fed anything yet. But we're plopping in some nice heavy sort of sticky balls. So that was on a pinky. Let's pop a maggot on. And that's why the rig's so positive as well. I'll show you. It's an Olivet, bunch of number 8 straight below and 2 number 9 droppers. That down. And we'll try and bomb that down. I'll try not to plop the Olivet too much this time. It's a little trick. If you are getting lots of bleak, don't make too much noise with your rig going in. The more it plops, the more those bleak will home in on it. That was a bite on the way down. Smaller roach. Well, they're more of a normal sort of whip size roach. They're great. We'll keep popping a ball on their head. Whilst they're there, we'll keep feeding them. Made a bit of a plop. I'm going to drag it towards me and just let it bomb down quick. I'll give them another ball every 2 or 3 fish perhaps. See if they'll have that. Whoop, a bit of a bite. Something's holding on to it. Just playing with it that time. Perhaps should have let it develop. Let's go straight down. Yeah, I'm not going to loose feed. Kiss of death if you unless you want bleak in your peg. Or we just keep crashing balls in. Bleak will sit above them anyway. Oh, we've got a little bit of a tangle there. What's that? Oh, it's a little dace. Yeah, a little dace. It's actually, we're just tangled and my hook's come off. So, I'm not too bothered. Probably didn't put the rig in quite so well then. So we'll just retie that hook. But it's also the perfect opportunity to pick up my elasticated whip. So we'll leave that one alone for a bit anyway. Not ideal getting a tangle, but these are old rigs as well, by the way, so it just gives me an excuse to use them up. They're definitely due being retied. So that one's a bit fragile, shall we say. So this is an 18, but this is to 010, and this one's got just the number 1 section elasticated. So it's probably 2 foot, 2 and a bit foot of the next 6 to 8 slick in that. So I'm hoping it'll be all right for this. I could put 8 to 10 slick in. I'm just umming and ahhing. It's another reason for having a session like this. Now you might see as well that this says 6 metre whip, but when you take the flick tip out and elasticate the next section, it becomes a 5 metre whip. So my 6 metre elasticated whip is the same. Oh, that one came off. Felt more like a perch, I think, or a little skimmer. There's a lot of those little skimmery things in the Thames at the moment, so it might have been that. It wasn't dragging like a roach, but you might find that whip, the flick tip, is a crisper strike and a crisper hook hold and everything. So we'll see which is best, this flick tip or the elastic. It just popped off at the surface anyway. Small wedge. Now, I don't know if you can see, I'm actually trapping the whip between my legs to unhook the fish and bait up. It's actually quite a bad habit. If you were a top whip angler, you'd be swinging it to hand and holding it here and unhooking it here. And I need to break that habit. It's another reason why I've come today, just to get more into a whip speed fishing mode. Oh, that's shot under. There's a lot of fish there now, I think. And that's why whip fishing is so good. You're just capitalising on lots of fish in the peg. You was only after £1, £2, £3 of fish, then just switch to a normal top kit and a normal pole rig. There's a lift bite. Have a little dace. Yeah, see, I should be unhooking them here like that, and then I'm not putting it down and learning to unhook the bait with my other hand, which goes against what I normally do, but it's good practice. So I'm not actually putting the whip down. Oh, the wind just caught that a bit naughty. Now, this being a 6 metre elasticated whip, is a little bit thicker at the end than the flick tip as well, so it's a bit heavier and not so swishy on the bite. Oh, bump that one again. Not marked though, just a small fish. But we'll swap between the two. The flick tip at the moment is feeling better. Give him another ball as well. I'll keep giving him a ball. There's a lift bite. I think the more I feed, so I'm going to try and unhook him there now. Another little dace. Dace love ground bait. So I'll hold the whip on that. So that's a better. If your speed fishing is of the essence, then that's a better way of unhooking a fish and baiting up in the same hand. But it's counterintuitive for me. I like to bait up with my other hand. It's another reason why I'm having this little session. Someone's had that on the way down. Ooh, I would have said that was a bleak the way he went. Oh, it's a big dace. Oh, wind caught it. I'm going to put that between my legs because he needs a disgorger, that one. Don't know where this clear disgorgers come from. Don't remember having that in my box before. Better dace. Them dace love ground bait. So at the moment I'm not swapping from a maggot. I've had a couple of quick looks on a caster and a couple of those smaller bleak on a pinky, but maggot's the most positive bait. You saw I missed a bite a minute ago and managed to go straight back out. So but some days caster will get you a better quality fish. I'm just fishing probably an inch off at the moment. Just be careful how to put that rig in. Yeah. So sonar bait's black roach, black river, soil, and a bit of damp leam. Just create that little bit of cloud as well. So I'm just playing with it. Lift bite. A little dacey thing. Wow. Don't normally see this many dace here. Don't mind catching them. We'll have one more go on a maggot, then we'll put a caster on. But it's definitely good practice to have a little practice on the whip, just to get into a nice speedy sort of. It's not about being fast, it's about being smooth and efficient. I think these fish, even though I'm feeding heavy ground bait, they're coming off the deck, these. That's one of those skimmery things I was on about. Yeah, a little bit of a hybrid in that. So let's try a caster. Nice big caster. Well, they don't seem to mind the 010, although what I have noticed, my last few fish haven't been roach, have they? Those big roach I was catching early doors. Ooh, that just buried. I'm tempted to come off the bottom a bit already. These fish are already quite excited. I'm trying to keep them down. Just dragged. It's quite refreshing. I haven't been catching many bleak. Not sure why. This river's absolutely heaving with them. A little bit more downstream that ball then. I don't mind that as it flows. Well, I can't hit a bite in a caster, which is strange. One more go. 3 bites, 3 missed bites. I might swap back to that flick tip in a sec. Yeah, it's absolutely burying on that. I can't hit him. One more missed bite. My guess is it's small fish. Oh, these dace are notorious for missed bites. Well, we'll see these little dace. Definitely got a shoal of those in the peg, haven't we? Tempted just to shallow up 2 or 3 inch. I've just mixed up 2 bags of ground bait. So plenty to throw in at the start. I lost sight of my float then. Might have been under, might not. But this is fantastic anyway. Some bleak or something topping there, as if something struck at it. Definitely getting some missed bites now though, so they've definitely gone a bit silly. Put a few more casters in there. Yeah, fast bites. Well, what I'm going to do is shallow up a little bit. Let's take 3 or 4 inches off the deck. Before I go in, I'll just mark the depth as well with my wax crayon, so we know where to go back to. That's it, we're about 3 to 4 inches off. See if that makes any difference. Definitely a lot of fish crashing around. Obviously we could go the other way, we could try over depth as well. But judging by the speed of the bites, I would say they're definitely off bottom. So I'm going to hold back on throwing these balls for a bit as well. I think we got them a little bit too excited. I think a little bleak's had that on the way down, the way that float settled funny. Yeah, it was on. Yeah, look at that, smashed. Look. Classic bleak. Fine, a caster can be better if bleak are about, but only fractionally better. But we can try clattering these bleak off up with a shorter whip as well, fishing like, you know, 2 or 3 foot deep. That's another option. See that got down. Lift bite, fish on. Another little dace. These are lovely little dace. I've not seen these in the river before. Not in those sorts of numbers. Probably the sort that you don't see in a match. Obviously it's going to be better today than if I was in a match. You might not catch on a whip in a match, but there's days when I've had a massive shoal of roach short and not been able to catch them long. So these fish are alluring to themselves really as to where they want to sit. But we've had a cracking start. It's just gone a little bit funny now. That's why. Bleak. So let's pop the 08 back on. Let's put the same hook that we had on the flick tip setup. 18 to 08. It's a fine black nickel hook, this. Ooh. A hook I use a lot on this river. We could go even more positive, you know, we could have an Olivet and one dropper, or put two droppers together. You know, there's all sorts of options, especially if the bleak are a nuisance. Let's just hold fire on feeding for a little bit now, and just see for 3 or 4 casts before we plop another ball in. See, that's gone sideways. Oh. So that never got anywhere near the bottom, that one. But sometimes you just got to plough through those bleak for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you'll be able to get a rig through and you'll be back in business with a roach. But we've had a bite every chuck, haven't we? And that's what whip fishing's all about. Yeah, the strike on a lascate whip isn't as crisp as a flick tip. So we might find we hit more bites when we swap back to the flick tip, but I'm keen to carry on going with this for a little bit. I'm trying to hold back from feeding. Oh, that's a better one. It's a bit more roachy. Whee! And a pike just had a go at it. He jumped over the roach. 2 or 3 pound jack pike. I don't know if you got that on camera. Oh, brilliant. He needs a disgorger, that one. That was only a matter of time, wasn't it? So let's pop a caster back on. I think we'll catch one on a caster soon. Missed every bite in them so far. Alright, that pike might have unsettled him. Let's give him a ball as well. I'm squeezing it really hard. I want it to go down and not I don't want a big cloud off this. I want to be able to bomb some casters down. There we go. It's one of those little dace. Pop a magger back on for a sec. This is what I'll do in a match. I'll just keep swapping hook baits until I find the optimum one. But on a session like today, I'll change more and try things I wouldn't always try. So that's a better roach. Oh, hybrid. Oh yeah, beautiful. And the other reason as well for this session is just seeing what I can catch on an 08 without breaking my hook length. Sometimes an 08's a little bit fragile for fishing to hand, but it's been alright so far. I mean, if it was on the Y or the 7 or something, you can fish proper crunching gear, big heavy floats, big hooks, you know, absolutely, but it's all relative. And this river, you know, 10 to 20 pound, 20 pounds is exceptional, 10 pound, 15 pound is more realistic to win a section. If you are going to do a big weight, then if they arrive on this line, this is the sort of thing you want to be able to catch those fish. It's looking a bit funny. Oh right, I see. Look, it's gone all funny, that maggot. It's obviously been in a fish's mouth Pop a pinky back on. These are lovely big pinkies. Almost as big as maggots. There's obviously a lot of mouths down there, so we'll keep putting a bit of bait in. Another hybrid. Well, we've gone from roach to dace to hybrids. Cracking. Make it back on. Just following it down. I'm just trying to bomb it down as fast as possible now. Just stop flapping. I think if I persevere with caster, I'll probably catch a few more roach. I've just got to juggle the depths a little bit. Probably catch them on hemp and tears fishing like this today as well, but there's only so many things you can do in an hour or two. Better, isn't it? Roach again. Well, I haven't set up my shorter whip yet for fishing up in the water, so we probably don't need to. Now, why would you use elastic and why would you use a carbon flick tip? Now, I think carbon flick tips are better. They're lighter. You've got a lighter whip, a crisper strike. And they're good if they're numbers of small fish. If you're just catching bleak, you'd 100% use a carbon flick tip. But if there's any chance of bonus fish or bigger fish, anything sort of, well, 6 ounces and above, then the extra insurance of elastic is definitely beneficial. Right, I've popped a 16 MXB2 on, and sometimes that 16, especially with caster, is a better option. So we'll plop that in and we'll see. And we'll swap to the flick tip whip again in a bit. I've had it before, you're missing bites, missing bites, missing bites. Put a much bigger hook on and you catch them. Although that one's done me, hasn't he? I think dace are the worst fish for trying to hook. You get some terrible bites off dace. No matter what you do. There you are. What's this? Here you are. Well on cue. Dace. Obviously this 16 hook makes it easier to unhook and rebait as well. And they're on the water and that they'll be using 12 and 14 hooks and in Ireland and things, but this is a bit more of a finesse river even though there's a lot of fish in my peg today. They're going a little bit funny. Feels like there's a predator in the peg. You just get that feeling when everything's suddenly a little bit more skittish. It's all gone quiet, said Rhubarb. But it has coincided with putting that slightly bigger hook on. So maybe it's that as well. good roach. Go away, Mr. Pike. I'm convinced these are in the peg, but there's also a hell of a lot of smaller fish that I've got to get through, but that was on maggot. Ooh, now then, that feels a good fish. Whoa, and a pike had it. Pike just missed him. I thought that might be why it gone a bit quiet. Whoa, and a pike had it. Right, we just had a lovely pike strike then, just missed my perch, but I've gone back to the flick tip setup now. I'm going 08 to an 18 still, and what I've done, I've just put two number 9s together and then the Olivet. So like a really positive, almost like an old school gudgeon rig. Bulk and one big dropper. Those two number 9s create one big dropper. And that's going to magnify everything. Obviously the more positive you can make the rig the better. But those roach don't always want it like that. If it was just bleak fishing, I've got a 6-inch hook length on as well, by the way. If it was just bleak or dace fishing, then maybe a 4-inch would be better. But with roach, I do prefer a 6-inch generally with these sort of live offerings. So sometimes the more positive you make the rig, the more bites you'll detect and hit. Certainly shows the lift bites a bit more, a positive rig, when the rig's not completely settled. If your rig's too airy fairy, then you can miss a lot of bites. There we are. Ooh, whoa, that's a pike's gonna have that. Pike, perch. Surprised a pike didn't grab that. Maggot's still good to go. But it's definitely a lot crisper on the strike with a carbon spliced flick tip. Obviously it whips through the air a lot cleaner, but you just got to be careful if there are big fish about. Suddenly started to tow a bit. Now I didn't change that maggot and I've not had a bite. Oh, there you are. Oh, that's a bite. That's another perch, I think. Good perch that is. Risky swinger. Well, where his perch suddenly appeared from. Definitely weren't coming off. That's great. You just got to be careful though, because I've got an 08 hook length on, which is quite fine. You know, after a few fish, it might be worth just changing it, just down to wear and tear. Especially if you start catching a lot of perch, they've got bony mouths and they will sort of abrade the hook length a little bit. Oh, wow. This is what I mean. It's a big perch, this. Big perch. Wow. And I'm on the flick tip, so there's no shock absorption in this. This is a big perch. That is a big perch. But it's good. This is a perfect opportunity to see what I can get out on a whip if I do hook it. I've just slid the whip a bit further down behind me. Hopefully it's too big for a pike to snaffle. See, that's a big bonus for a whip, that 12-ounce perch. It's at least 10 ounce anyway. Yeah, 12 ounce, I'd give that all day long. On a flick tip. Actually see him, crayfish. See if I scoop him. Oh, he's gone. I can actually see a crayfish under my feet. Right then, 10 fish, that's all we're going to have. That's not 10, is it? 10 fish. And then we'll call it a day. Ooh. That's another big perch. Not as big as the last one. Yeah, not as big as the last one. I wonder if we've got a nest of perch just arrived, haven't we? Don't mind catching those on a whip. So that's one fish. Another perch. Two fish. Both perch. Amazing, the last, what, 7 or 8 fish have all been perch. But they're nice weight builders. Single red maggot. Another perch. I don't mind catching these one a bung. Three. Put a pinky on this time. Just the one, even though I picked up about 10. And also drag a few silvers back in. It's 3 fish, isn't it? Certainly nothing wrong with my throwing today. Might be a roach. Yep. 4 fish. Just see the up. Four fish. Dace have definitely disappeared, haven't they? Something's gone through the peg. That's another roach. Oh wow. That's a nice roach. We won't be swinging him. That's on the pinky. Best roach of the day, I think. So that's number 5. He's definitely 8 ounce plus, isn't he? Probably 10 oz. That's 5. Put a pinky back on, that's for sure. That's just on the mega positive rig with 2 number 9s and just an Olivet. Shows what they'll have. One of these delicate strung out stick float style shotting arrangements. Another roach. Oh, they've just come back, haven't they? Six. Ooh, a big perch, I think. Seven. Enjoyed this. Again, he wasn't coming off. That was on a pinky again. number 7. With one more ball of ground bait and try and catch 3 fish off it, I think. Yeah, these fish are right at the top of the peg. Not sure if I saw a pike under that one then. 8. Two more fish. 9. Right, last fish. I've swapped to the elasticated setup, so we'll see what we can catch. Very last fish, double pinky. Come on, number 10. Your time's up. There we are. A little perch. Don't mind that. So that's number 10, all on the whip. Hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Right, let's have a look at what we caught. Well, there we are, an absolutely cracking bag of fish, all on the whip. Some clonking roach on the flick tip. And then we've also had that big bonus perch as well. A few pike strikes, but we've not actually hooked any pike. A few bleak, but mostly roach, dace, perch. Absolutely brilliant fishing. All fishing 5 metres to hand. Bit of ground bait, pinkies, maggots, casters. Simple stuff, but really enjoyable sport. So hope that's inspired you to go out on the river and give it a go. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on another session.